Antonino Toscano was an Italian admiral during World War II. He was killed in the Battle of Cape Bon. Early life and career. Born in Agrigento in 1887, Toscano entered the Italian Naval Academy at Livorno in 1905. He was commissioned as an ensign in February 1909. In 1911, after being promoted to sub-lieutenant, he joined the crew of the torpedo boat Astor, taking part in the Italo-Turkish War. On the night between 18 and 19 July 1912, Toscano, on board Astor, took part in the attempted forcing of the Dardanelles by 5 Italian torpedo boats, aiming to attack the Turkish fleet in the Black Sea. The torpedo boats, under the command of Captain Enrico Milo, ventured for about 15 miles inside the straits, before being forced to retreat under heavy artillery and machine gun fire. Toscano was awarded a Silver Medal of Military Valor for his part in this raid. Later promoted to lieutenant, Toscano commanded the torpedo boat 69 Newtons during World War I, carrying out several missions. In 1919, Toscano participated in the Italian occupation of Albania, promoted to lieutenant commander in 1922. 4 years later, Toscano was appointed teacher of naval art and history at the Accademia Aeronautica in Caserta. In November 1926, he was promoted to commander, later assigned to the Naval Warfare Institute in Livorno. Between 1937 and 1939, he became its course director, first as a captain and later as a rear admiral. In July 1939, Toscano became General Personnel Manager. World War II. At the beginning of World War II, Toscano was a member of the High Council of the Navy. For the first 16 months of war, he did not participate in any naval engagement. On 15 October 1941, after promotion to Vice Admiral, he was appointed commander of the 4th Naval Division, initially with the light cruiser Alberto di Giussano as his flagship. Soon, however, this role was moved to her sister ship Alberico da Barbiano. At the beginning of December 1941, the supply lines between Italy and Libya were in a dire situation. During the previous month, attacks by the Force K had led to the destruction of several Italian convoys and the loss of nearly 70% of the supplies sent to Libya, including 92% of the fuel. The Italo-German forces in North Africa, facing a new Allied offensive, were in urgent need of fuel and ammunitions. Supermarina, at the request of Comando Supremo, developed an emergency plan of transport of badly needed supplies using warships. The cruisers of the 4th Division, since they were fast and too lightly armored for employment with the battle fleet, were selected for this role. Da Barbiano, with Toscano on board, and Di Giussano left Taranto at 8:15 on 5 December 1941, reached Brindisi at 1750 and loaded about 50 tons of supplies, then proceeded to Palermo on 8 December, where they loaded an additional 22 tons of aviation fuel, which was especially needed in Libya. The fuel, contained in unsealed barrels, was placed on the stern deck, thus posing great danger in case of enemy attacks. The two cruisers sailed unescorted from Palermo at 1720 on 9 December, heading for Tripoli. But at 22:56, they were spotted by a British reconnaissance plane north of Pantelleria. The plane, which had located Toscano's ships thanks to ultra-intercepts, started to shadow them. At 23:55, Toscano, since the surprise had vanished, heavy enemy radio traffic foreshadowed upcoming airstrikes, and worsening sea conditions would delay his ships, further exposing them to British attacks, decided to turn back to base. Da Barbiano and Di Giussano reached Palermo at 8:20 on 10 December, after overcoming a British air attack off Marettimo. Toscano was heavily criticized by Supermarino for his decision to abort the mission, since for the 13th of December a new convoy operation, called M41, was planned, and the air cover by aircraft based in Libya would only be possible if they received new fuel. On the 12th of December it was decided that the 4th Division would attempt again the trip to Tripoli. The cruise of Bandineri was to join da Barbiano and Digesano to carry more supplies, but she was prevented from sailing by a breakdown. Thus her cargo had to be transferred to the other two cruisers. Da Barbiano and Digesano were overall loaded with 100 tons of aviation fuel, 250 tons of gasoline, 600 tons of naphtha and 900 tons of food stores, as well as 135 ratings on passage to Tripoli. As the stern of da Barbiano was packed with fuel barrels, so thickly that it was not possible anymore to bring the guns to bear, Toscano held a last assembly with his staff and officers from both ships, where it was decided that, in case of encounter with enemy ships, the barrels would be discarded overboard, and then the cruisers would open fire. Da Barbiano, Digesano and their only escort, the torpedo boat Signo, sailed from Palermo at 1810 on the 12th of December. The 4th Division was ordered to pass northwest of the Aegean Islands and then head for Cape Bon and follow the Tunisian coast. The ships would keep a speed of 22-23 knots. Air cover, air reconnaissance and defensive mass ambushes were planned to safeguard the mission. In the afternoon of the 12th of December, a Cant Z-1007 bis of Regia Aeronautica spotted 4 destroyers heading east at an estimated speed of 20 knots, 60 miles off Algiers. Supermarino was immediately informed. The ships were the destroyers HMS Sikh, Legion, Maori and Isaac Swears of the 4th Destroyer Flotilla, on passage from Gibraltar to Malta and Alexandria. Supermarino calculated that, even in the case the destroyers would increase the speed to 28 knots, they would have reached Cape Bon around 3 a.m. on the 13th of December, about 1 hour after the 4th Division. So Toscano was not ordered to increase speed or alter course to avoid them. Following new ultra-decodes, a new reconnaissance plane was sent and spotted Toscano's ships at sunset on the 12th of December, after which the 4th Destroyer Flotilla was directed to intercept the two cruisers, increasing speed to 30 knots. This speed, along with a 1-hour delay that the 4th Division had accrued, frustrated all previous Supermarino calculations about the advantage that the 4th Division would have. At 22:23 Toscano was informed that he would possibly meet enemy steamers coming from Malta, and at 23:15 he ordered action stations. At 2:45 on the 13th of December, 7 miles off Cape Bon, the ships heard the noise of a British plane, and at 3:15 they altered course to 157 degrees to pass about 1 mile off Cape Bon. 5 minutes later, Toscano suddenly ordered full speed ahead and to alter course to 337 degrees, effectively reversing course. This sudden change disrupted the Italian formation, as neither Signo nor Digesano received the order, and while Digesano saw the flagship reverse course and imitated her, Signo did not notice the change till 3:25, when she also reversed course, but remained much behind the two cruisers. The reasons for Toscano's decision of reverse course have never been fully explained. It has been suggested that, upon realizing that he had been spotted by aircraft, He decided to turn back like on the 9th of December, that he wanted to mislead the reconnaissance plane about his real course, wait for it to go away, and then go back on the previous course to Tripoli, that he thought from the noise that torpedo bombers were coming, and he wanted to get in more open waters to obtain more freedom of maneuver, or that he had spotted the Allied destroyers astern and, not wanting to present his stern to them, he decided to reverse course to fire on them with his bow turrets. Stokes's destroyers were, indeed, just off Cape Bon by then, and they had spotted the Italian ships. The course reversal accelerated the approach between the two groups, and the Allied destroyers attacked together. Seek fired her guns and 4 torpedoes against da Barbiano. Legion did the same. Isaac Swears opened fire against Di Giussano. Toscano ordered full speed and to open fire, and da Barbiano also started a turn to port, but at 3.22, before her guns were able to fire, the cruiser was hit by a torpedo below the forwardmost turret, which caused her to list to port. Da Barbiano was then raked with machine gun fire, which killed or wounded many men and set fire to the fuel barrels, and hit by a second torpedo in the engine room. At 3.26, Maori also fired 2 torpedoes at da Barbiano, and opened fire with her guns, hitting the bridge. Moments after, the cruiser was hit by another torpedo in the stern. Meanwhile, Di Giussano was also hit and disabled. Da Barbiano rapidly listed to port, while the fires quickly spread all over the ship and also into the sea, fueled by the floating fuel, and the crew started to abandon ship. Leading seaman Vincenzo Antro was presumably the last man to see Toscano alive. While descending on deck, he met a gravely wounded and barely standing Toscano, who asked for help. Antro carried the admiral on his back, left him near the floatplane hangar, and then went forward to look for a raft to some more men who could help, but found neither. When he returned to Toscano, and his efforts to help him proved useless, the admiral told Antro to leave him and save himself. Shortly thereafter, at 3:35, da Barbiano capsized and sank in a sea of flame. Admiral Toscano was never seen again. He lost his life along with 533 more men from da Barbiano and 283 from Di Giussano, which also sank a few hours later. He was posthumously awarded the Gold Medal of Military Valor.